It is Saturday morning and time for Saturday morning cartoons. This is a little confectionery, a little tin confectionery box of some kind. There was like mints or something in it for Christmas time. You see little happy character, little elves, candy canes, Christmas ornaments and stuff. I don't know what the hell that is, but it's a pretty weird looking thing. And I think that's Santa Claus's beard there. I'm sure that is. And it looks, but you'll notice that, and there's probably Mrs. Claus there. My favorite Mrs. Claus, of course, is Marguerite Garner. But anyway, you'll notice that the top of the box is singed. As a matter of fact, it is singed and burned so much that it is actually fused to the lid is fused to the box. And on the top of the box is a magic seal that a few of you probably will recognize as the seal that's placed on top of the brass bottle, and it's usually a lead seal. I have several lead seals, or I've made several lead seals over the years, and it is fused to the lid of a bottle that contains a demon. A demon that was, I guess, recalcitrant, whatever that word is, reluctant to serve the magician. It's sort of the last straw. It's the death penalty, if you will, of an uncooperative spirit. Okay? And that's the kind of classic seal. And maybe I've got a better picture of it here. And maybe I don't. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. Right there. The secret seal of Solomon. Now, you probably know that I, from time to time and over the years, have performed Solomonic magic or Goetic magic for various purposes over the years. I write about it in my book, Low Magic. It's all in your head. You just have no idea how big your head is. And I wrote sort of a handbook of Solomonic magic as the second section of this book, The Key to Solomon's Key. The first section being my comments on the myth of Solomon. And anyway, it's a unusual book, and it's still in print. Anyway, the thought occurred to me that most of my Goetic ceremonies and my Goetic operations, I'll say, at the time I felt were absolutely justified in me doing it. And you know, as it turned out, that I was pretty right most of the time with it. But in the early stages of my career, of my magical career, can't always say it was the truth. And so for Saturday morning cartoons, I wanted to uh, talk about under what circumstances it's appropriate to do this kind of magic. Okay. And just like my teacher told me when I first asked her or told her I planned on doing a spirit evocation, she advised me not to do it. Okay, this was very early in my magical career, and she said, correctly so, concentrate first on getting your holy guardian angel, and then you'll find that that stuff's not necessary. Well, the first part of that advice is absolutely correct. Get your holy guardian angel. But the second part, the part where she said, and then you'll find out that that's unnecessary. Well, it didn't make sense to me then, and it didn't make sense to me now. So it almost was like suggesting, wait till you get your holy guardian angel to do that, because when you get your holy guardian angel, you'll know you don't need to do that. And I wasn't quite going for it. I went ahead and proceeded with it. And as you know from my life with the spirits and other writings that I've done, it was a comedy of errors and a magical industrial accident and everything. I'm lucky to have my eyesight as good as I do. Even it was a wild time, but it worked. And over the years, I have sparingly used this type of magic when I felt that it was appropriate to do it. And my experience has been that if it really probably was my will to get a hold and control over that particular spirit, it was successful. And there were times when it was just flat out obvious that I did not understand my own will in the matter, that I was yet unwise enough to know what was or was not in my own best interests. And that's where that holy guardian angel thing comes in. And this is where my teacher was just absolutely right on. Because the magician really doesn't know what is or is not in the magician's best interest until that level of consciousness is achieved and you're operating from that level of wisdom. But sometimes things got to get kicked out of the way to get to that level. And I did plenty of Goetic evocations before what I would consider the time when I had achieved knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel. So in this book, The Key to Solomon's Key, toward the back where we're talking about Goetia, I've got a list of all the spirits and the sort of an abbreviated or a sampler of the Lesser Key of Solomon, the classic Lesser Key of Solomon. But I started off with some questions that I try to answer. And question number 5 was, under what circumstances is it appropriate to evoke a spirit? And I'm going to do a little commentary on this. Ultimately, only the individual magician can determine whether it is or is not appropriate to use Solomonic magic to evoke a spirit. However, my experience of what has and has not worked for me in the past leads me to make the following observations. First, you must have a problem, a real problem. But before enlisting the aid of a spirit to resolve the problem, you must have done everything in your power to take care of the matter by regular means on the physical plane. That's magic too. If your neighbor's thoughtless midnight tuba playing is ruining your sleep, your health, and your ability to stay awake at night, if you've asked him to stop, if you've called the police and they didn't help, if you've tried to enlist the help of other neighbors, if you've marched next door and punched the inconsiderate idiot in his tuba-tooting lip, if you've tried everything right here on earth, then maybe it's time to at least consider a magical remedy. However, if you haven't exhausted all other measures, it'd be cowardly and unwise to magically tinker with your precious subconscious mind just to force some poor spirit to do your dirty work. Secondly, the problem you wish to resolve must be a personal matter. You can't do magic for someone else. I know people will argue with me over this, and okay, argue away. When you formally evoke a spirit, you are evoking an adventure. Adventures are not always pleasant, and sometimes they're dangerous, even deadly. At the conclusion of the adventure, however, if you survive, you'll emerge from the experience a better, wiser, braver, cooler person. No one else can take your adventure for you, and you cannot take the adventure for someone else. Therefore, your reasons for evoking a spirit must be entirely personal. You wouldn't expect to reap the benefits of psychotherapy by sending someone else to replace you on the analyst's couch. Thirdly, you must feel totally justified in doing what you're about to do. You must have a deep emotional involvement in the matter you wish resolved. If you aren't convinced of your motive, you aren't reaching to the very bottom of the visceral hell of your frustration, your anger. Then you're not touching the level of consciousness where these beasties exist. Furthermore, once you've evoked it into the triangle, you must be able to consider the spirit, the personification of your problem. For in essence, that's what it is. You have every reason to be mad at it, okay? The spirit is your problem. It's always been your problem. For the first time in your life, you've isolated it and can now focus the full force of your righteous anger and indignation not on your spouse, not on your boss, not on your kids or your dog or the government, but the real source of your problem. It has to listen to you, so you better know what you want to tell it. It's either going to shape up and do what you command, or you're going to annihilate it. My last word of advice is don't make deals with the spirit. In a very real way, you've unconsciously been making deals with the spirit your whole life. That's why you have the problem. The whole ceremony is your formal way of branding your subconscious mind with the idea that you are through making deals with this tangled piece of ignorance, flawed perception, fear, vice, addiction. Take your pick. They're all demons. Do you see the plot of this psychodrama? Do you see the method to the madness? Once you voluntarily reprogram your subconscious mind with a traumatic little experience like this, you've become, in essence, a different person. Different things start to happen when you become a different person. If all goes well, one of those things will be the solution to your problem. Now, the next question was, do I have to do all these lengthy conjurations and curses and memorizations of, do we have to recite them and stuff? And I generally just say, no, not if you can get your head into that altered state. But here's what I want to talk to you today about. Because in order for you to at least begin to cautiously start this kind of magical operation, you have to ask yourself some questions. The best way for you to determine what the basic formula and order of ceremony is to first acquaint yourself with excerpts from the Lesser Key of Solomon. And that'll just give you an idea of what the formula is. You don't have to thee and thy and thus and hence. But you do have to understand and follow the formula. But here's the thing, motive and justification. Before I begin, I ask myself, do I truly have a good reason to raise the spirit? The answer is probably no. But will that stop you? Probably not. And you won't probably know that until in retrospect. Do I feel absolutely justified in doing so? Well, you'll end up answering yes if you proceed. But the answer is probably no. Do you have sufficient emotional tie to the object of the operation? That's usually a yes, and it's usually yes. Is it my unambiguous will to succeed in the operation? Now, you may think your answer is yes. But how afraid are you of success? Do I have the courage to plumb the depths of my subconscious hell to achieve my ends? The answer is most likely no. But courage may not be what you think it is. It's not the absence of being afraid. It's the ability to proceed with your will through the fear. And it's that ability that will probably turn the trick in the most amateurish comedy of errors, which is likely to be your first Goetic evocation. That's Saturday morning cartoons for today. I'll see you tomorrow for Sunday school. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.